Welcome to SportsWave Champions Insight and Mindset Moment. This is a session where we get a brief moment to talk with our sports champions and understand their mindset, perspective, and insight on both their personal and professional life. Today, we are glad to have Edwin Ndungu, a cyclist who has represented Kenya in Commonwealth Games 2022 in Birmingham. Edwin is a 3 times national champion in forest cross country. He has represented Kenya in World Championship 2023 in Scotland. He has also participated in Africa Mountain Bike Championship in Namibia 2022. Edwin has a personal best of 34-kilometer team trial with a time of 0.4735 minutes. 18-kilometer cross country with a time of 54.0900 hours. And 850-kilometer gravel cross country with a time of 48.0156. Welcome, Mr. Kevin.
Thank you so much.
Yeah. So I understand you are with the Team Amani. What is Team Amani, and what kind of outfit is that?
So Team Amani is basically an East African-based team, and it gives opportunity to East African riders. They pick the best, and they give them the international exposure in racing in both gravel and mountain bike, but mainly they focus on gravel bike.
So what is gravel bike? If for someone who does not understand, actually there are 3 or 4, I don't know, but I know only of 3. I know what you call team trial. There's individual time trial. There's team trial, individual trial. There's cross country. Now you've mentioned something called gravel. So what are the different types of events in cycling? And what are the different types of events in cycling?
So cycling is basically a very wide sport, and it has so many categories. First, mainly the known categories are road cycling and off-road cycling. On the road cycling, that's where we have the team time trial, we have the individual time trial, we have the road race. That is mainly in the road cycling. And now when we go to the off-road cycling, we have the downhill cycling, we have enduro cycling, we have mountain bike cross country Olympic, and we have mountain bike short track. And still on the off-road part, we have gravel racing. And now those are open field. And now we have events which happen in velodrums or in an enclosed place. We have a velodrum and we have BMX. So those 2 happen in an enclosed place.
So which is your specialty?
So my specialty, mainly I started as a road cyclist, and in road cyclist I did well in time trial, which I won so many championship and races in Kenya. And as time went by, I noticed I had a good strength also in mountain bike, and that's when my interest started, and I started doing mountain biking events, and I had to combine with gravel. So mainly now my current strength hold is off-road. That is gravel, mountain bike, but I also do the time trials and road races for fitness.
So I just want to understand 850 kilometers
Yes.
gravel
Yes.
cross country
Yes.
with a time of 48:01:56.
Yes.
How is this? Was this 2 days of cycling, or how does it work?
So that event was Evolution Gravel Race in Tanzania, and it was divided into 2 parts. It was divided by half. And whenever you finish the first half of the race, that's when you had a 12 hours mandatory rest. And then from there, you'd finish the other 400 kilometers. So that meant riding day and night. And then you rest, and then you go another day and night, and then you finish.
So day and night, meaning for 24 hours, you are riding nonstop.
Yes, you ride non-stop.
From morning, go through
Yes,
all the way through the following morning.
yes. In
Nonstop.
fact, yes, non-stop. In fact, I can remember we started at about 7:15, and I finished that race at 6 the following day. So I rode the whole day and the whole night.
Ah, that sounds very intriguing. Ah,
Yeah.
okay. So your time was 48 0156. What was your
Yes.
position in this race?
I was third.
You were third.
Yes.
Wow, that's a big achievement. Okay.
Yeah.
So, but if I again look at the 34 kilometers team trial, your time was
Yeah.
47.38,
Yeah.
meaning you are doing a kilometer with slightly over a minute.
Yeah.
So is that on a flat surface, a slopy surface, or a hilly, or mixed?
So on that terrain, it was a mixed. It was mixed. It was flat and a little bit of a slope and uphill, but it had a slightly longer uphill, but not very steep.
Okay. So when were you first called to the national team? And how has your experience been competing at that level?
So my first event was All African Games in Morocco, and
Mm.
I had started cycling in 2015. So it took me about 2 years to make it to the national team, and
Mm.
the experience that time was very challenging because of the equipment. As you know, the cycling gear is not cheap to get, especially the required standards for racing international. So it was a big challenge, but I'm happy I was able to overcome it.
I understand that there is a professional cycling team in Kenya, or cycling teams or clubs in Kenya. How does it work? How does one get to be admitted in such clubs or camps?
So basically, we have been able to have several teams based in Kenya. Like we had one which was Bikeaid, which was giving opportunities to riders to go and race abroad, race the Europeans, and get the international exposure. Unfortunately, didn't work out like we had hoped. But now we have Team Amani, which mainly they are doing off-road events. And currently we are having an in-use camp in Eldoret, Kaptagat. And for them, they are focusing on the road racing. And for one to join these international teams, number one, you need to give results. In any event, any sport event, you have to give the results. And I've had this challenge with many people on my socials asking me for equipment and everything. But also, when I started with what I had. And this is what I always advise people: use what you have to gain what you don't have. Use that bike that you have, even if it's heavy, even if it doesn't have the equipment that you'd want them to have, just use it. Someone is watching you, and it was my case. Like I was using a very simple bike, which was very heavy, and it was smaller. It was way, way small. It was a very small frame, and I could barely fit on the bike. But I didn't give excuse. I just worked hard with it. I delivered my results, and luckily, someone noticed my effort and my determination, and they helped me to go to the next level. So it's results. And the second thing I've seen is discipline because there have been many strong cyclists or athletes, but I'm sure you agree with me that you have to be a very disciplined person. You know what to do, when to do, how to do it. You don't need someone to come push you around. That is mainly the two basic key things for someone to make it.
Okay, so people who just ride for fun, if their timing is good, they can get that opportunity to work with these professional clubs. So it's just a matter
Uh,
of you using what you have and doing your best.
yes, yes. And for the fun riders or those who do it for fun, I've been in the industry for long and I know for you to get the results, I'm sure you have worked hard for it. So you'll be ready and they'll be watching you and they will see you and you'll have the opportunity. And we'll be also spotting.
Okay.
Yeah.
So meaning these clubs will always give you or pay you an upkeep, for you to, compete for them.
Yeah. They pay you. Now it becomes a career. Like you wake up, like for me for the past 8 years, even if I wasn't being paid, I always woke up. I wake up, I take my bike, I go for training, I go to the gym, I go for training, I read cycling books. Everything around me was evolving cycling because that's the decision I made after finishing my high school. Like, I'll chase my dreams, I'll be the person I want to be. And it didn't matter how many obstacles I would come to face or I would be forced to get through them. I made the choice to cycle, and I'm happy after the hard work of training hard, being disciplined, being consistent, not giving up when I had the challenges. I'm happy now. I'm seeing the fruits of what I wanted to achieve in life in
That's
cycling.
quite a challenge to many people because finding something that you love doing and somebody paying you for it, I
Yeah.
believe that is the most interesting and the best thing that can ever happen to anyone. So
Yes.
if you do cycling for fun and that's what you love to do it to a level where someone will notice you and they will pay you to do it. And when they pay you to do it, I believe you'll do it even more better.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I cycled when I was young, but I had to fight this fear about fighting for space with other road users. How do you overcome that fear? Riding for 200 kilometers, 100 kilometers, or even 5 kilometers, 10 kilometers. You have to fight for space, like Kenya, where any space people go into any space they see, whether they're on the
Yeah.
right or on the wrong. How do you
Yeah.
overcome how do you overcome this fear of using the road? Because me, I fear being knocked, yeah,
Yeah.
and I don't know what to do. So what are some of the things that you do to ensure that you are safe on that road, as much as sometimes it's very chaotic?
So basically, when I started and I've been coach and I've helped people to get into cycling. One of the challenge I see with people is the mindset. Number one, you have to have a very positive mindset. Like, don't worry about what will go wrong. Focus on what will go right. Don't visualize on someone hitting you from the back or from the side. No, when you focus on those things, they'll eventually happen. And this is what I've always had with my clients, like visualize going to the ride, the path, the route you're gonna use, how you're gonna go, and come back home safely. The reason why I say that is we become what we think and we attract what we think. And in Kenya, yes, I understand the situation is quite aggressive and angry, like motorbikes everywhere, careless drivers. So the main thing is have a positive attitude, look where you go, and always like when you are on the road, if you are turning left, make sure you signal left, and before you go to the left, take a quick look at the back, see if there's a car coming or a motorbike or a fellow cyclist. If you're making a stop, make sure you look behind. It's all about you taking care of yourself. It's just the same case with a car. You have to signal the next move you're going to make. So if you are also careless when you're cycling, the chances of you getting hit will be very high.
So you're telling me not to look back, just focus on where I'm going.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Focus on where you're going and don't be nervous, don't panic. Just cool down. Be in control, because the moment you start panicking, oh, someone is gonna hit me,
Uh,
you're nervous. Eventually, it will happen.
okay. So
Yeah.
I like the part that you've said it's your mindset. If whatever
Yes.
we attract, whatever we think. If you
Yes.
think negative, negative will follow you. If you think
Yes.
success, success will follow you. If you're
Yes.
negative, that's what you'll get.
Yes.
Uh, that's a very good and powerful mindset, especially in your sport where, and in actually all the sports, whatever you
Yeah.
think makes a very big difference in in your performance. Something I've always wondered, um, why is there no rear view mirror that you can always check who is coming behind? You know, if somebody's moving too close to you, like those cars and motorbikes, why
So,
is there no side mirror?
there are mirrors on a bike. Some they are put on your helmet. You put them on the side, and some they are mounted on the bike. But mainly they are not common because they get broken very fast. And secondly, a person like me who is cycling professionally, I like my bike to be as light as possible. I don't need unnecessary weight on my bike because it will be a burden to me. So in cases of a mirror, for me, I'm used. Whenever I want to make a turn, I just quickly look behind. If it's clear, I go. If there is traffic, I wait. That is on the professional side. But
Mm.
on the beginner side, there are mirrors that you can use to look behind.
You said the mirrors are on the helmet.
Yes, there are some which are on the helmet. They protrude here outward here, so you can view it here and see if there's
Okay.
an oncoming vehicle or motorbike, and
Okay.
some are mounted on the bike here.
Okay. I've never noticed that. Okay. And again, this is that's whatever you've mentioned that you want your bike to be as light as possible.
Yes,
That extra ounce make a difference.
yes,
Okay. So as you ride, of course, sometimes you meet challenges in terms of the terrain, weather, the wind. Sometimes it's muddy, sometimes it's raining. And of course, as you said, you cycle the whole day, the whole night. You have no control of weather, and
yeah,
you don't have that. You don't have that luxury of stopping where you want or taking time to relax or wait for the weather to be better. How
yeah,
do you maneuver some of these challenges, especially like wind, uh, slippery ground, muddy ground? Yeah,
yeah,
there are strategy to ride in the rain, to ride in a muddy surface, to ride on a windy road. Are there strategies that you guys are trained on how to go about these challenges, unforeseen challenges that you sometimes encounter while cycling?
yes, yes, and that is a very good question. And most of the cyclists, some of them, they say they're cyclists, but they don't understand there is also a learning side of cycling. And this is where now a qualified coach comes in and they
Mm.
guide you through. Like for example, when it's rainy, like where I am in Rimuru, it's very cold and rainy most of the some of the days, and
Mm.
you have a training schedule and you have to commit to it. And for me, I had the mindset of, and this is the good thing of doing what you love. You never give excuse. You always give results. So whenever it's raining and I have to train, I just wear a waterproof jacket and get out and do my training. And before I get out on my training, I have to check my tire pressure. If I'm doing road cycling, I reduce the pressure by 2 psi or 3 psi, because when it's rainy, the roads are slippery. So it's good to have a little bit of race pressure to get grip on the tarmac. Also, when you're going, if you did, it's an off-road session, uh, you must be willing to be washed by the dirt and the mud on the road. So it's all about being ready and accepting the situation, and being the best at your current situation. And I think that is the hardest part of any sport. Like every sport, I'm sure there are always a challenge. And in these wet conditions, muddy
Mm.
conditions, rainy conditions, it's when you can spot someone who is really committed and passionate about cycling. Also, on the wind part, when you're doing road cycling, there are certain formats which are formed according to the wind direction, and they are called echelons. And if the wind is coming from the right side hand, you'll find we move to the right hand side so that the front rider will shield the others from the wind, and you're gonna take turns so that you'll get to your destination when you are not too much tired. That is when you're training. When you're doing off-road, for wind is also the same case, but it's not that strict as in road cycling.
Uh, in athletics, I've heard of when somebody has done their race, especially in the 100 meters. They talk about being helped by the wind, or
Yes.
being stopped by the wind. You know, the strength of the wind that they're going against. Does
Yes.
this also apply in cycling?
Yes, it applies in cycling now, mainly in the time trial. It
Mm.
applies. It's a fact that you have to know. Like also for me to win the time trial titles, I have to keep mastering the wind. Where is the wind coming from, and where is it blowing to? If it's a headwind, I know I have to push hard because the resistance is high. If it's a tailwind, the wind is pushing me forward, you see. And if it's a side wind, you'll find that my bike will tend to lean on the side that the wind is coming from. And if you're not careful, it can lead to a crash if you are not able to read the wind, how it's blowing, and which direction is blowing. So as it happens is in running, in fact in cycling, it's a fact that someone or a professional rider knows that they have to be aware of and be able to judge it accordingly.
So saying that the wind can either assist you or stop you. The weather can also be in your favor or not in your favor.
Yes.
What about self-inflicted or self-made mistakes like getting lost? How do you ensure that you understand the course well? Yeah,
Yeah.
and sometimes people do crash. So
Yeah.
how do you shield yourself against crashing, against going the wrong direction? Of course, you've explained on weather how you can work
Yeah.
around
Yeah.
with the weather. So crashing, how do you
Yeah.
how do you shield yourself or protect yourself or ensure that you, of course, not no one would want to get into a crash,
Yeah,
but getting lost, especially when people are going in a park and you understand that you get to learn that some people went in the wrong direction.
yeah.
So how do you mitigate against that?
So luckily, I've been a victim of both. And
Ah,
last year there was a race in Southern Bypass, and there was a left turn so that you can turn and come back. And I turned too early,
oh,
and I got lost. So I had to get off my bike, run back to the course, and continue with my cycling. And that costed me winning that race. Because after getting lost and coming back to the course, I got second place. And it just happened. I just turned, and some things I don't know how to explain. Some things are unexplainable because I had raced that route for more than 2 years and I knew the route on my head. But that time when I was racing, I just lost it because I was always chasing my personal best. But I got too nervous, I got too excited, I got lost, and I lost time. So the other part on crashing, maybe you can be able to see where, yeah, here I have this car.
oh
This
yeah,
car,
so
yeah, this car I crashed in Namibia doing the mountain bike African Continent Championships, and I got a concussion, and it was a pre-race, like it's we call it the route recce. We had gone to see how the trail is, where we have jumps where you need to take care. But unfortunately, I misjudged a steep descent where we had you had to catch air, like you had to fly over, and I misjudged it, and I crashed. I my face uh, hit a stone. The lucky thing I had my helmet, so only my face got this car over here. I got a concussion. Thank you to the federation. I was rushed to the hospital. I was stitched, and I came back. And I remember I was told not to do the event, but the athleticism in me and my personality, I had to sit down with the federation and I explained and I told them I've come from far, I've worked hard for this. I asked them, they allowed me to do it, and they had to test if I was stable to do it. And I was happy I passed the test that they gave me, and they allowed me to race. And I was happy because I had a good performance. In fact, I was position 12 and the second best Kenyan, and being the first African Continental Championship, I was happy. Also, despite the situation I was in. And the
mm,
main thing that pushed me to do it was, for me, I believe I was on a mission and I had to finish it, despite was what was meant to be on the way. Because I could see with one eye and I was okay with it and I had mastered the route. I was, yeah, let me finish it. And I was happy even to finish it. And even today, I'm happy and I'm proud of myself that I remained at my best, even if the outside I had injuries, but my mindset was there and my heart was there. So I was happy that my body showed that positivity in it.
oh, that was very courageous of you.
Yeah.
Crashing, getting into a concussion, going to the hospital, getting stitched, and going back to the race. What was the kilometer? What was the distance in terms of kilometer?
It was a XCO. It was a loop of 4.5 kilometers, which you had to do loops, and it had to be done 8 laps,
Okay.
eight laps. So it's very, very, very technical, and it has steep climbs and steep descents. So I crashed in one of the descents. Yeah, it's a very,
I
very fast pace.
I had I had an opportunity to when I had an opportunity to drive along with the cyclists during the team's trial in Muranga,
Yeah,
and I would see everyone has a support as a support team. So
yes,
in case you are unable to continue or to go ahead, there's someone
yeah,
to assist you.
yeah,
And of course, a mechanic. I saw there was a mechanic on standby. I saw there are
yeah,
people giving food, bananas,
yeah,
and then ambulance on tour.
yeah, yeah,
What I want to ask,
yes.
are you allowed to take anything from anyone? Because I saw people just giving you bananas and water. Are you allowed to take anything from anyone by the roadside?
It's not you're not allowed to take from anyone. You're supposed to take support from your team car, your specific assist. And where if you noticed, not everybody would pick a banana or water from anyone. They
Uh,
had specific vehicles which they would go to, and it's allowed because in most races you'll be on your bike for 6 hours, 5 hours, 4 hours, and your body can only store energy for 1 hour. So after 1 hour, you don't have any fuel to run. So you have to keep fueling, keep eating and drinking water, and at after 2 hours, mainly you're done with everything you had. If you had carried bananas and two bottles of water, 2 hours they're done. So you have to go back, get a refill, and come back to race. And also, when you're doing the road racing, we have one specific person who does that work, and he's called a domestic. So he makes sure everybody is well fed, well hydrated, and that is his job.
okay.
Yeah,
Now that you mention being fed on the road,
yeah,
what about, could you just highlight on your diet as a
yeah,
professional cyclist
yeah, yeah,
that can ride for 12 hours non-stop, riding for 12 hours non-stop, and
yeah,
feed you after every 2 hours? That is while on the race. What
yeah,
about when you are not racing?
yeah,
Just your normal diet. And again,
yeah.
do you as a person have an ideal body weight, that your body weight that you must maintain, yeah, so that you are light enough or you have the enough energy to take you through all those, those rigorous
Yeah.
cycling treks.
So
So
on the yeah, yeah.
yeah, go ahead.
Also on the part of nutrition, it also depends on someone's body because
Mm.
you can find the way my body reacts on protein and on carbohydrates is not the same reaction to someone else. So the main thing is for someone to understand their body type. And second, after you identify your body type, next you find the foods that suits your body. Like for example, when you are racing the 12-hour race, you find like for me, uh, after the few years of training, my body does I don't function well with bananas, so I swap bananas with rice cakes, uh, energy bar, or energy gels. That will work for me. And we carry them on our pockets. As you noticed, the cycling jersey has pockets on the back. So that's why you put like your nutrition, and then on your water, because we sweat a lot. Like for me, I sweat a lot. You find other cyclists, they don't sweat as much as me. So on my water, I have to add some, like a knife end of sodium or electrolytes to help replenish the lost electrolytes when I'm sweating. So it's a very wide topic that it varies with someone's body. Also, after you finish your training or your racing, mainly it's advisable to eat within 1 hour after you've done your training to help your body absorb the food fast and replenish the empty stores. Mainly, it's advisable you take carbohydrates so that they can feed back, and also protein to repair the worn out tissues, and also fruits and the grains, they are also very essential. So it's generally a balanced diet that will work in of the bike.
Okay, that's a very key point and valid for all the athletes, not only in
Yeah,
biking.
yeah,
It's important that after exercise, you know, uh, okay, depending on your sport and the level of energy that you use, knowing when to replenish, because replenishing also helps you in terms of recovery. And again, I
yeah,
believe it also helps you in terms of planning for your next, exercise or even competition.
yeah.
So, what about equipment? Do you like prefer certain equipments based on maybe certain qualities?
So for equipments, this is now the main, like the big issue, because an equipment is one big challenge. Like if you consider like running or football or basketball is just a basic kit, shoes and the ball, all that. But in cycling, you have to have a basic cycling gear, helmets, special cycling shoes, and now the equipment, which makes the cycling sport expensive, because there are three type of materials which make a bike. We have aluminium, we have steel, and we have carbon fiber. So carbon fiber is the lightest of all, and it's the most expensive bike because of its lightness. And there are also components like the wheels, the shifting gears, the derailleur, the saddle. All these things, when you add up, they make the price of the bike go very high. So equipment is very crucial. You can be on your best shape, you're very fit, but you don't have a good bike, and that will be your downfall. So in cycling, you need to have a very perfect bike, a bike which it fits to you. You're used to it. It's been set to your riding style, your height, your reach. So when you have your perfect bike and you are in good shape, then it will make a difference of winning and losing.
Two things on that. Maybe in Kenya, do you have a company, or how do you custom make a bike that fits your physique and your riding style? And I heard in the beginning you told me the first bike you use, you are not fitting. You are
Yeah,
you are just trying to squeeze in. So meaning that you are. I saw that you are a 6 feet tall guy.
yeah.
Yeah. So I want to understand two things. Is there a place in Kenya that you can custom make a bike for your height or your weight or whatever riding style or whatever strategy that you use in your cycling? And over and above that, your height, is there a way that it is helping you in your cycling?
So on the custom making bikes, we don't have a company yet in Kenya which makes bikes. So all our bikes, we have them imported from abroad, and then they're shipped here. And then when the bikes come here, we have various shops which have mechanics, or the salesperson knows how to fit a bike. Like for me, I used to work at Zozo Bike Shop. They also do bike fitting there, and I personally, I know how to fit a person's bike to their height, reach, and everything. Set everything correct. So there are people here in Kenya who know how to do it, and it's possible and it's doable. So like for me, the challenge I had, the bike I had was smaller. I was riding a small size frame, while else I was supposed to ride a large frame. But currently is due, I had no other option. It was the bike which was present to me. I had to make use of it. But now I have good bikes which are fit to my height and my reach and my riding style. So yes, we are settled now. So on the other question of height, yeah, height is an advantage, sometimes a disadvantage. So in cycling, you find that most sprinters, people who have a burst power for few seconds, they are not as tall as me, but you'll find a few who fit in there. But it tends to have shorter people doing the sprinting races, and people tall like me, they are good in long stage races, 6 hour stage, 5 hour stage, the endurance races. So, for example, you can find Chris from does is tall. He does six hours. He does 2 hours, 6 hour events. You can find someone like Mark Cavendish. He's a short guy. He does well in flat and sprint finish. He'll be okay and perfect with that. So yes, height also counts.
Okay. It seems there are a lot of similarities between marathon running and road race.
Yes, and
And
sorry, sorry to
yes,
cut you short.
and most of the cycling camps are also based in the Rift Valley or in those sides of Eldoret where the marathoners are based. So, what are some of the, in terms of course, endurance is key. In terms of programs, what are some of the similarities that you share with marathoners, skills that you can, or technical issues that you can pick from either side?
So basically, you find mainly sports people tend to live in places where it's high altitude, and that is because of supply of red blood cells in the body. So when you live in high altitude, there is less oxygen, so your body produces more red blood cells, which gives you advantage when you go to a lower altitude than when you stay in a low altitude and you go to a high altitude. You'll have difficulties in breathing. And I've raised with people who come from sea level. We've raised them here in Kenya, and you find they are struggling when the altitude goes to 2000. And so it's always advisable if you're a sports person, when you stay in a high altitude place, you're more advantageous than staying in a sea level. And also the sports of cycling and running, some people, but the main common thing you find is the discipline part, because runners they train twice a day. The program I have also trained twice a day, but mainly you find the first session will be going on the road, the second session will be off the road. So it's we always borrow each other on the discipline side. Also on the muscles that are used to cycle, they're not the same that are used for running. But sometimes you find runners doing cycling, like there's a video which trended of Joge riding a stationary bike, which helps in his cardio. And you'll find cyclists like me, sometimes I'll go for a very short run and come back home. It helps, and it's a way of breaking the monotony of doing just one sport day in, day out. Yeah.
What about what about exercises? What are some of the exercises like going to a gym? Of course, you target different sets of muscles, but
Yes.
what are some of the exercises that you do to give you that strength, that endurance? and of course, that ability to race for those long hours.
So the main purpose for going to the gym is we don't get endurance in the gym. We
Mm.
get power, the punch on the gym, and also to develop muscles, the necessary muscles for the sport. Like for cycling, mainly we do the lower body, which means the glutes, the thighs, the quads, and the core, which is basically a very crucial part in cycling because most of the time you are bent, so you need to have a very strong core. And for the upper body, you don't necessarily need to be bulk on your upper body. That is for endurance cyclists. But for sprinters, a big body will be advantageous to you, as you can tell a difference from sprinters and long distance runners. For the long distance runners, they are lean, and it's the same case also with cycling. And for the sprinters, they are bulky, and also for cycling, the sprinters are also bulky. So the exercises are the same. So for long distance runners, they don't do gym workouts that will make them bulk, but which they do exercises which will make them stronger, but not bulk. But in the sprinting side, they'll do workouts which they will get bulk, they lift heavy. So that's the main common thing.
Just a follow up on that. Gym work. Do you do your gym work during off season or during season, or what do you do, or do you not choosing when to do your gym work? You just do it throughout, but you monitor and check on what you are doing. And then again, coming back on you didn't tell me your ideal racing body weight. What's your body weight, or what do you feel is light or convenient enough for you to be able to do that long races without getting fatigued?
So my ideal weight is 64 kgs, but mainly I weigh around 65 when I'm added weight, and
Mm.
my body is very, like, I don't know how I manage it, but I'm not strict on my diet, but my body mainly stays along 64 to 65. And when I haven't trained that much, I'll add up to 65. And when I train, it would be at 64. So that's 64 is my ideal weight. I can go up a hill very comfortably, and I'm lighter at 64. That's my ideal weight.
What about the exercises? Because some of the exercises will make you bulk. Or during off season, do you bulk or you just do the same exercises during and out of competition?
So mainly in cycling, the off season is when we go 4 times a week to the gym. And this time, when you go to the gym, you don't ride mainly, or you just don't go long distance. You focus on the gym, and as you progress the opening of the season, you do less gym work and you focus more on your bike. But it's always advisable, and we try to keep at least 2 days at the gym a week so that you can have the same composure. You don't lose much on the gym, but you can't go hard on the gym and still go hard on the bike.
Mm.
It's not advisable for that. Yeah.
Okay. Cycling is an Olympic sport. I
Yeah.
know every sport is trying to qualify for the Olympics now. What is your vision? What is your mission in terms of qualifying to the Olympics? Because the last time Kenyan sent a cyclist to the Olympics was in 2000, Sydney, Ken Muhindi. Do
Yeah.
you envision yourself making it to the Paris 2024 team to represent Kenya?
So unfortunately, I won't be able to represent Kenya in the 2024 2024 Paris Olympic Games because I missed out on points. So for a cyclist to qualify to go to the Olympics, you need to gather points. And for you to get these points, you have to race in overseas races. South Africa, Europe, US, you gather these points. And when these points, you gather them, that is what gives you a gate pass to go to the Olympics. And unfortunately, I haven't had that chance to gather as many points as they're required to the Olympics, but that's something I'm working on. So the next Olympics, I'm gonna give it all and make sure I represent my country in the Olympics games because that is one of the to-do lists. Because I've done all African games, I've done the Commonwealth Games. So my next big goal is the Olympics.
And you've done the World Championships.
Yes, and also I've done the World Championships.
Now, that point system, sometimes it works against people with no enough resources to
Yes.
be able to attend all the meets or the championships that is required to garner enough points. But averagely, let me just ask, averagely, how many championships do you need to attend so that you can at least be in that bracket where you can be considered out of the points that you've gathered?
So basically there you have the four championships, and then you can't just only do the championships alone. You have also to participate in the Commonwealth Games. You have to go to other international races which are UCI qualified. Like UCI is the body that governs cycling in the whole world. It's called Union of Cycling International,
Mm.
which these races must be UCI registered. That's when now you qualify to get the points. And also for the points, you have to have good position also for you to qualify for the games. And I have my friend from Uganda. He's called Charles Kagimu. He won last year's All African. He no the African time trial championship. He was position one, and he's a guy we trained in with the Dorset, but he had the exposure through Bikeaid and a continental team in South Africa, Pro Touch. So he was exposed to do races abroad. So that is what got him a qualification to represent Uganda in the 2024 Olympics. So it's just not just the championship, but other UCI qualified races.
So it's a challenge. I know because of that kind of criteria. So it means very few Africans would qualify for the Olympics, besides South Africa, which I know is big on cycling.
Yeah.
Are there like, do they have a way on how they balance maybe the continents that Africa must be represented by like a certain number of people, Oceania, Asia, Europe, America, or it's just purely on points? If you miss on points, forget it.
Yeah. It's basically on points. If you don't get the points, it means you don't have that big exposure because everybody is trying to go to the Olympics, so they make it neutral. Like if you're in Africa, you have to be at least in Africa. When they do the points, like the people who have the highest, maybe like the top 15 in Africa or the top 20,
Oh,
according to how the season is, they are the ones who will qualify. So there is no it doesn't have a linear side of because it's Africa. Mainly, I haven't seen that, or which I can't confirm of that, but I've not heard of that. So I
well,
basically know it's you getting the points.
okay. Wow. So you must work hard
Yes, you
and
must work hard.
as maybe Kenya Cycling Federation, how many how many championships or how many tours have you managed to attend since the Olympic qualifiers windows opened?
I've been able to participate in quite a few, like the Commonwealth Games,
Mm.
the World Championship, or let's say about four of them. Yeah, and I'm grateful for the Cycling Federation for giving me the exposure.
You mentioned Team Amani. Does Team Amani support you in terms of going for those qualifiers or championships across the world?
Yes, yes. If you have an agreement and you agree that you need the support and everything, I've seen people whom they have assisted and they made it, and they are still pushing on the objectives. So yeah, it's
So
possible.
tell me the difference. Tell me the difference in terms of. I know. In cycling, the biggest event is maybe the Tour de France. I think
Yes,
it's the highest ranked event.
yes.
Tell me the difference in terms of either participating or taking part in the Olympics vis-a-vis the Tour de France event, cycling event.
So the Tour de France is a 21 stage race, like every day for 21 days, and it comprises of both uphill ending races, flat ending races, individual time trial, uh, team time trial. So it's a sport that only at least 9 riders will be able to take place according to how the UCI standard will be. And for the Olympics, you can have different people as long as they have qualified for the Olympics and they have the required points. They can do different sports. You can represent mountain bike, time trial, road race. You choose whichever you will do as long as you have qualified. But in Tour de France, those who have started, they will be the one who will finish. If maybe you crashed and you can't be able to do it, you're out. And the final results will be after the 21 days. But in the Olympics, it's not as tour as a Tour de France as 21 stage races. No, it is individual. It is like mountain bike. You do your race, road race. You just do it one day and it's over.
Wow. So I didn't know it's 21 days event and it involves individual and team. So every single day, it's a different event, either it's a team or
Yes,
an individual for 21 days. And then at the end of the day, at the end of
yes,
that period, then number one is established. Okay.
yes.
Oh, okay. But there is this Kenyan-born guy called From. You remember you've heard of him?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Yeah.
think he's the only Kenyan who has participated in that event.
Yes.
It means he was going as an individual, not as a team.
In cycling, for you to do well in the road cycling, you are always on a team.
You are always on a
So
team.
yes, so when his biggest success came when he joined Sky. It's called Team Sky. It's
Mm.
and now it's currently in use. But now he moved to another team which is in Israel. So
Okay.
he was able to do and to win Tour de France as a team. And for a team to qualify to the Tour de France, it needs a very big budget, and e- equipment, nutrition,
Mm.
therapists. It's a very big organization which has to be very well organized.
So, so Tour de France has a very big prize money.
Yes,
Okay. Now tell me,
and
Edwin,
yeah,
we've just been talking about cycling, day in, day out. when you are not cycling, what do you do? What other things do you do that either help you become a better person, or even make you help you become a better enhance your enhance your career, or better in your get better in your career?
So mainly after I finish my training, I
Mm,
do have kids which I train, and
mm.
most of the time when I'm not training, I'm with the kids, watching them, helping them. Apart from that, you find me doing my recovery. Sometimes I'll listen to a podcast, or take a book, read, try to learn something that I need to learn or know. So most of the time you find me, if I'm not with the kids, I spend time with myself trying to learn a few things.
Okay. So you talked about having a good mindset that has worked for you in the
Yeah.
whole of your career. So what are some of the things you do or say to yourself on a daily basis that keeps you, keep you at that level or that state where you're able to deliver or do what you do best?
I have one thing I always say to myself, like, I wake up motivated, I go to bed satisfied. What that helps me, it helps me no matter how the obstacles I'll face on the day, no matter what will come to me on the day, I'll be motivated to face it. I'll be present. I'll be there to tackle it. And when the day is over, I'll go back to my bed satisfied, because that's all I had to do on that day. And I have to recharge myself, wake up the next day, and keep going. And I also love to always be the best version of myself at all times. If it's on my bike, I be at my best version, which is sometimes very challenging, because there'll be always hard times where you feel like giving up. You don't see the Sometimes you don't see the need of doing it, but you don't give up. There's always that aspect of quitting, but you don't quit. You keep pushing yourself, and you keep motivating yourself. And one thing I faced that helped me have a good mindset is I did research on successful athletes, successful business owners, successful people we have, and I did the research on their background to see where they come from, what they had to encounter, all those challenges. So as I don't see as if I'm the only one who is going through all these challenges. And when you do this, you find that you're even in a better condition, you're even in a better environment than some of the people who made it to the top of the world. Because sometimes our minds are wired to get us from doing the things that scare us, because our mind is wired to keep us safe, not to do risky things. So you have to overcome that. And by doing that, you have to have a very willing heart, and something which drives you. And I always tell my people who are the kids I support, some of the guys I meet, you have to have a strong why, the reason why you're doing what you're doing. Otherwise, any wind, any shake, anything that will happen to you, if you don't have a strong why, you'll be shaken and you won't be able to move to the next step. Like when I crashed in Namibia, I asked myself, why do you want to ride in that condition? I was asked that question. And I had to do it because it is who I am. I need to see myself in these conditions. Because you're not great when you win. You are great when you face challenges. After that challenge, the way you tackled it, it what defines you whether you're great or not great. It's not by winning the races I've won or everything. It's coming back after a downfall, coming back again after another and another downfall. That is where greatness is. After you are relentless. You fail to give up. So giving up is never an option to most of these successful people. And they have done it over and over and over again, years and years. They are willing to pay the price, but I've found many people say they are willing to pay the price, but when it comes in doing in action, they do 2, 3 days. They don't want to take it. So you have as a person to have a very strong mindset and know why you're doing what you're doing, because otherwise that's why you see people they are trying this today, tomorrow they are trying this because they have not set a certain decision to do what they want to do.
I get you very clearly that you wake up motivated, you
Yeah.
go to bed satisfied, and
Yes.
you love challenges. You
Yeah.
feel nice and better when you overcome challenges. That's what makes you, get your why in whatever you're doing,
Yes.
and staying positive at all times.
Yes.
And again, you mentioned something which is very key. You do research, you read on others, and try to get to understand and compare yourself to where you are and where they were, or whatever challenges they had to overcome for them to be successful.
Yeah.
It's always good to learn from others, and it has always been said, if it has been done, why do you want to reinvent the wheel? Just
Yeah.
take the easier path that will give you
Mm.
the results that you want.
Yeah.
So that is very positive of you and a very good way of overcoming your challenges, especially that Namibia thing. I doubt if many people would have continued with that race.
Yeah.
Um, Especially you mentioning that you had concussions.
Yeah.
Even me, that would scare me. And if you do
Mm.
not have a strong why, as you put it,
Yes. Yes.
why you had to do it, then you simply say it's not a matter of life and death.
Yeah.
Uh, we'll do it another day.
Yeah.
Now, uh, mentioning the Namibia thing, you have been in the sport. You told me for 12 years or 20 years
No, no, for this is currently my seventh year.
or seventh year.
Yeah.
Uh, like any other sport, uh, we are faced with challenges of injuries, and we are faced with this notion of, or the idea of staying in the sport long enough to reap the benefits of your hard work. And one of the major challenges that uh, any athlete would face in a sport is injury.
Yes.
I'm not sure uh, the types of injuries beside crashing. I don't know what types of injuries that a cyclist or cyclists are prone to. One thing that I would just imagine out of the world is the back. Always you are, slanted in front.
Yeah.
What are some of the common and major injuries that a cyclist would encounter, and how do you work against such injuries so that you stay long enough in the sport to reap the benefits or enjoy doing what you do best?
So first of all, the main thing you have to be very careful with is your bike settings, because if you have your seats too high, you will suffer from you have problems with your knee and your bones because you're overstretching them and you're not supposed to overstretch them. Secondly, if your seat is too low, you will suffer from your pain. You'll suffer from knee pain because again your muscles are not stretching as they're supposed to. If you have your handlebar far too long, you'll be overreaching. So in short, is just getting a correct bike setup. And the other thing is when you go to the gym, have someone who will help you correct your technique when you're doing these activities in the gym. And I think that's the main issue. And also, when you have a problem, see a specialist, go see a physiotherapist, go see your qualified doctor. Don't just assume when you're having a painful back, a painful knee. Go see someone before the situation gets worse. Because I once suffered from my back, the QL. I overstretched it because I also had a bike which was had wrong settings, and it left me with an injury which took me some time to get over it. And by a good physiotherapist now, I'm okay. So it's just about not assuming things and doing them, being guided by someone who is aware about these things.
So it's important to work with a specialist, somebody who understands the fittings.
Yes,
You better take your bike to somebody who can fit it to your to your comfort or to your size, so that you do not overstretch your back, your knees, and your arms. Yeah.
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh, Another thing that I would also want to find out from you, do you have, after training, do you have a specific recovery routine? What, some things that whenever you do them, you know, you get full recovery, because everybody's body is different and respond differently, of
yeah,
course, based on what you do or
yeah.
what you don't do. So you as Edwin, do you have a specific recovery pattern or routine that you have to go through for you to get your body fully recovered and ready for the next session?
Yes, like I had explained, like after I finish my ride, I eat
Mhm.
within 1 hour. The other
Mm.
thing, I make sure I hydrate, that is, I drink more. And I do stretching after my training because when you cycle, uh, you always get a good feeling when you stretch, and it makes your body more flexible and ready for your next ride. And the best recovery ever is sleep. Like I'm always punctual on my sleeping time. Like you find mainly when I'm on set on my training by 9, I'm asleep unless it's something which can't be done the next day. So the main part of recovery is eat well, eat a balanced diet, and get enough sleep. You'll be ready for your next day and your body will be fully recovered.
Okay, so sleep works better for you and good food. But,
Yeah.
so it's train, eat, sleep.
Yes.
Enough.
That's the routine.
Some athletes stay very late on their, you know, their phones, trying to just chat and end up sleeping for a few hours, and then come the next day they're not able to, their bodies are not responding well.
Yes.
So I I like that routine that you say by 9 it's your
Yeah.
sleep time.
Yes.
By 9, unless something comes up, but by 9 you should be in your bed. And what time do
Yes.
you wake up the following morning?
Uh, Mainly, I have like by 5:30, I do have a natural time to wake. I don't need any alarm. Like I have teaching. My body has its time. By 5:30, I'm up.
That's a good psychological setup,
Yeah.
set of mind.
Yeah.
Do you what do you prepare psychologically for a race? What do you do to make yourself be in that race? Or when you are cycling, what goes in through your mind? What do you tell yourself? Like, for example, you have 100 kilometers to go in a day. From kilometer one, how do you set your mind that you are not imagining that I've only done one, I'm left with 99 to go, and your body.
So the main thing, like before an event, some people you find they're nervous, the body is scared and all that. But the good thing is get to your zone that you are calm, you are chilled, everything is under control. You do what you're supposed to do. You prepare your bike. You make sure all the things you need you have them. And the other thing is visualizing. And the thing here to visualize is the end. Like what do you want from this event you're doing? And the other part, just leave it. And then morning of the race, have a good meal, and this is very, very hard for some people. You'll find they are not able to eat well in the morning, which results to the body not having enough fuel, which costs them a good performance. But you have to make sure you are composed and you eat well. And for me, when I'm racing, I just enjoy. Like I don't look at the speedometer and see I've remained every now and then. You just enjoy the moment. Make sure you know when to make your move, the moves not to follow, and you just go with the flow and you enjoy the race. And yeah, that's all. Sometimes it will go your way, sometimes you will go your way. And for those who might be more interested, they can follow me at Ndungu in IG and Facebook. They'll see the path that I've gone. Some of the races I've had bad luck continuous, like consecutively, back to back, race after race. I've had bad luck. But that doesn't stop me going to the next day. Because the way today ends, it's not the same day that it's not the same way that tomorrow will end. It's all about what you want.
Okay. Um, it's not easy to just keep within your zone for those number of hours, because again, at the beginning you mentioned about the mind. What you think is what you attract.
Yeah.
So as you race from kilometer one to the 100th kilometer, you only think of finishing, not any other thing,
No, no.
and how you will feel when you finish.
Yes, the feeling after finishing.
The feeling that you will feel when you finish is what is in your mind,
Yes,
and of course being focused so that you don't commit mistakes which might cost you.
yes,
Right? Beside having those qualities, being able to keep your mind in the zone, being able to focus on your race and your plan, what other qualities would you advocate for, or would make a good cyclist?
a self-driven person
Mm,
and someone who is responsible for themselves. By
mm,
saying a self-driven person is someone who knows how their bike is, the condition of the bike, their nutrition, which gear they're gonna use, which type of bike they need to use, all that you know, and you are well prepared about it. And self-discipline because sometimes you'll be sent a program and it's up to you for you to do it. There's no one following you up. So you must be self-driven and you don't need someone to be at your back so that you can do what you're supposed to do. So it's just a commitment, someone who is committed and someone who have made the decision because in life, it's all about making the decision and being there to pay the price and making sure you give your best. That's all. And as time goes by, you keep learning new things, you keep changing some of the things. But the main thing is a willing heart and being relentless despite the challenges you're going to face.
okay. There's something that has just come to my mind. We had talked about it, about weight. I can see you keep dreadlocks. Does that really add on to your weight, or you are okay with it?
So that's a common question I always face whenever someone sees with my dreadlocks, and some people even joke of them. How come this guy is cycling? No, 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 no. This guy can't be faster than me. Uh, Sometimes you go for an argue.
I was asking about your dreads.
Yes.
Don't you think they add some weight, or don't you think they work against you when you're facing the wind?
That's a question I get most of the times, but my dreadlocks, uh, they are part of who I am. It, I am not complete without my dreadlocks. and I can't be the cyclist I am without my dreadlocks. So it's a complete Ndungu care with my dreadlocks. So for me, I don't see them as a baggage or a load, or they hinder me from performing well. In fact, there is a day someone told me that when I cut my dreadlocks, I'll be more faster, and I told them that's not the truth. Because even if, for example, if you take an example, let me give an example by an animal. If you take an elephant and you cut its tusks, there is no way the elephant will be faster than the way it's fast. So for me, in fact, they help me add confidence on myself as care, and I'm more comfortable with them, and I always love the fact that I have them. Only the main challenge I can say is when it rains and when it's muddy, I have to take time to wash them well. But otherwise, when I'm cycling, they don't distract me. Yeah.
So you have attached a meaning to them, and there's a meaning you have attached to them. There's that confidence that they give you,
Yeah.
and does it mean you will never cut them until you die, or you there is a specific period or time that maybe after that you will consider?
So one thing I don't say that I will never shave my dreadlocks, because things do happen. But currently, I don't intend in shaving them. The only thing, when it's necessary, I can trim them when it's necessary. But
Mm.
apart from that, they are part of me. So it's who I am. So there is no any other way.
So, so you said you are not complete if you are not Edwin wa Keia.
Yes.
So who is Keia to you?
Kia is my father.
It's your father.
Yeah.
So you
That's my surname.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
I know. Many successful sportsmen or successful people have a tagline. They go by a tagline. They have something that reminds them of, encourage them or reminds them of who they have to be, so that they
Yeah.
can have that mindset, you
Yeah.
know, to perform. So I guess, I'm not sure, but I guess maybe there's something along those lines that makes you, value them and keep them and think about them, and, you know, which is okay. Everybody's allowed to do what makes them be their best and
Yeah.
to achieve their goals. And people
Yeah.
should not judge you by what you do. That's what works for you. Everybody has a choice to do what they think or what they feel can work for them,
Yeah.
just to achieve their goals. And as long as you're not interfering in anyone, me
Yeah.
personally, I
Yeah.
don't have a problem with it. I was just
Yeah.
curious when we were talking about the body weight and
Yeah.
sometimes going against the wind. Uh, Scientifically, it could maybe slow down your speed, or that ounce. You told me you don't want your bike to be an ounce heavier. You just want it to be as light as
That's
possible.
possible. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's okay. Now you mentioned about BMX and velodrome.
Yeah.
Last time we were in Commonwealth Games,
Yes.
a Kenyan was competing in velodrome.
Yeah.
Do we have that kind of structure or that training facility in Kenya? Where does it train?
Unfortunately, we don't have a velodrome in Kenya.
And is based
So
in
the
Kenya full time.
he's based in Kenya. But what he had to do, he had to modify or improvise the skill set that he is needed for him to perform in a velodrome. Because in a velodrome, the bike doesn't have brakes; it's always a back breaker. And in velodrome, you always pedal forward. You never stop pedaling unless you're stopping. And when you're stopping, you just continue pedaling slowly until you make a stop. It requires a very different skill set from these
Mm.
other type of bikes. Yeah.
And surprisingly did well. I was, I think, in the top 20, top 10 or
Yes,
top 20.
yes.
Hmm?
It was in top 10. Yeah.
Top 10.
Yeah.
Ah, okay. And it's something that I've never understood how people don't crash in it. Yeah.
Mm.
And now they keep on going up, 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 up until they are like almost, you know. So I think there are a lot of physics in it. But
Yeah.
how many do we have in Kenya training or doing that kind of sports? And you, why didn't you choose it?
For me, the reason why I didn't choose it is because I can't access the required, like the velodrome. We don't have a velodrome here. Or the other thing, it's not my field because it requires someone who has the punch, someone who is has a quick start. Because mainly you need to have very quick start and
Hmm.
finish. Yeah, but the main thing is the equipment. We don't have the necessary or the required equipment here in Kenya.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay, I get you. Now, you raise as a team. Most
yeah,
of the time, it's more of a teamwork.
yeah.
Uh, so how what what you as Edwin, what is that good thing or that best thing about you that you offer the team? That you can promise anyone that if I join your team or if you welcome me in your team, this is the service that I'm going to offer you.
Number one, I'm sure at any given situation,
Mm.
I will give the best.
Mm.
I will be at my best at all costs. The second thing, I'll help uplift the people whom I will be with, or I'll help we come together, we work together, and we get what we want, all the targets that are needed, all are set by the team. And I find mainly through the challenges and the obstacles I've faced, I've passed through a lot of challenges, and by that, talking to someone, sharing like I've shared with you the story, you find someone gets motivated. So, and also still I'm a UCI qualified coach, so I'll be able to help mentor the others, and we'll have a good and well organized team and teammates.
Oh, okay, so your technical expertise in coaching,
Yeah,
you are a team player, you are a leader
yeah,
and a
yeah.
motivator at the same time. Out of
Yes, and
the
I'm also a mechanic. I can fix bikes.
Yes, surprisingly, I'm told all the cyclists should have basic or should have that mechanical know-how of the bike, how to fix it, how to can dismantle it, you know, within a few minutes, replace a spare part and be on the move.
Yes, yes.
So do you carry spanners with you as you ride?
Now, the good thing about the road bikes and the bikes we use, the mountain bikes, you just require a very small tool this size to
Mm.
assemble your bike. So you don't need to carry big spanners and
Okay,
screwdrivers. No, no, no. You just require a tool set and then the Allen key set, and then you'll be up.
okay.
And now the a spare tube or I can't start to repair now for the tube race.
Oh, so you can carry a spare tube.
Yeah, yeah,
Okay, okay. Now that you've mentioned that you are a coach, you are a qualified coach. What advice would you give to other coaches? I know you've worked under coaches and you're a
yeah,
coach. What
yeah.
advice would you give to other coaches in terms of working with the young people or people who want to compete at a higher level than? the level you're competing at the moment?
So one of the main thing I see people or coaches that leave out is you can't have a successful career when also you are off the sport. You are not well sharpened. You are not well defined who you are. You're not a person of character. You don't know why things happen and the reason why they happened. It's not just necessarily about the bike. Because if you're not on a peaceful mindset, it's very hard to get results. If there's something bothering you, maybe from home, maybe from family, maybe financial issues, if you are not at a peaceful environment and you're not able to handle stress, it will be hard for an athlete to perform well. And that's something I've seen with myself and for those whom I've been mentoring and helping in the cycling sport. So it's good not to leave out the life, let me put it like this, the life coach, as in you are able to handle your own issues. It's good that you also mentor the young ones or the athletes about life and when things happen, just let go and keep moving and believe in yourself even if sometimes it's hard, but have a reason why you have to do what you're doing. You always overcome it, everything that comes on your way, because if you know where you're going, you'll get there. But if you don't know where you're going, any road will take you anywhere. So the main goal is if you know where you're going, you know why you're doing all the sacrifices you're making, you always reach your goal. I believe that and I know that.
Edwin, unfortunately, as a country or in Africa, we have a very big challenge in terms of uh, coaching education and development.
Yes.
Yes, you've uh, you've mentioned that the coach must know where they're going
Yeah.
for them to be able to train and mentor the athletes well.
Yeah.
But in this situation or in this case, we don't have a structure. You don't know, like all the coaches are volunteering. Very
Yeah.
few people get an opportunity to be paid for what they're doing. And
Yeah.
again, beside the small seminars or small courses that are offered internally by the federation or the international federation, there are no opportunities for coaches to learn, to get to learn, and uh, things that can enhance their performance or rather can enhance their experiences in terms of working with athletes, in terms of building their own life. And you mentioned something, knowing or understanding why things happen the way they happen. If you're not trained, if you do not have that broad mind, it's not easy. So
Yeah.
and that's the reason why we are having this conversation. Uh, it's a challenge that, as a continent, live alone the country,
Yeah.
needs to address, needs to think about it, have structures that can help coaches. And if coaches are helped, athletes will be helped. Yeah. If
Yes.
help
Yeah.
an athlete and you don't help the
Yeah.
coach, then to me, it will not really bear that fruit or impact that we so desire to have. Because for athletes to perform, to stay long in the sport, to be able to improve, the coach must be informed. The coach must be better informed or experienced or exposed better than the athlete. But
Yes.
unfortunately, we do not have a structure that helps our coaches, all coaches across all sports, develop in terms of education or
Yeah.
develop or just expound their science, their knowledge, their scientific knowledge about coaching.
Yeah.
And sometimes it becomes very difficult and very emotional when you send a coach. or when a coach goes with an athlete to an international championship, the coach himself is more lost than the athlete, and yet the athlete is depending on the coach to guide them.
Yeah.
So at the end of the day, it's more of a punishment, you know,
Yes.
than
Yeah.
enjoyment or even being able to compete at your best.
Yeah.
So I understand. Most of our coaches have learned just by having been in the sport, played the sport, and of course
Yeah.
with a few seminars here and there, but not getting that broader view
Yeah.
of now coaching. Because if you're trained as a coach, you can coach any sports.
Yeah.
Of course, specialities comes in later, but if you are properly trained coach, if you learn all the philosophies, all the theories, and everything that goes with coaching, then you'll be
Yeah.
better informed or better be in a better place to help the athletes.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I hope we will get rather overcome these challenges as a country and as a continent so that we can compete at the same level
Yeah.
with us, the rest of the world. I don't know about other countries, but I'm talking about Kenya and maybe the continent of Africa.
Yeah.
So, not Mwangi, Edwin, there's this problem of doping.
Yeah.
Doping is a very big problem. Mostly I've heard of it in the tours, these big races. I don't know whether we have that problem here in Kenya. And how do you guys, or how does your federation ensure that uh, athletes do not get involved in using these banned substances? Are there internal policies that regulate, uh, how you conduct yourself within the sport?
So mainly, I'm thankful for the federation because they always have seminars where they come and they teach
Mm.
athletes on the effects of doping, and we have other who come and educate the athletes on the effects and how someone can get caught as a doper, whether they know it or they don't know it, and they educate us as the athletes and as the coaches, so as you have the knowledge on how someone might be caught with doping, and that is a very good thing because I've attended several of the seminars, and I gained much on these topics, and sometimes you, according to the sessions that we had, sometimes you might even take something that you didn't know was banned, and you later found that you have your results came positive. So I'm grateful for the federation for organizing these seminars and keeping athletes informed on the effects and how one can have a positive results on doping.
Yeah, sometimes it doesn't happen because you do not know.
Yeah,
I think some athletes just do it out of
intentionally.
choice, deliberately,
Yes.
because they want
Yes.
to win and want to be famous
Yeah.
or gain some some mileage out of it or some benefit out of personal interest. In your cycling federation, has someone ever been caught on was tested positive for these banned substances? And did the federation meet some punishment on them,
So
if there was any? Mm,
for the years that I've been in cycling, I
mm.
haven't encountered any case of doping that I'm aware of. So I have no idea on how the steps that the federation takes, but I'm sure you'll be banned for participating
Mm.
at least for 4 years. And so, yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
I think we've had enough conversation. We've basically, I think we can talk and talk and talk and talk. There's so much to be talked about, but I believe you've shared your bit. I'm so grateful and happy to have shared with you, talked to you, and shared your experience. Maybe before I let you go, is there anything, any parting shot that you would say to upcoming athletes, to your fans, or even to, the people who are in charge of organizing these races and supporting the cycling team?
Yeah, so first of all, I would like to say thank you for the Kenya Cycling Federation for the
Mm.
good work that they have been doing, and also for giving us this chance. Because if it was not for them, a person like me would never exist. And I would also like to say thank you for the people who organize the cycling races in Kenya. We are grateful because that is where we start and we grow up to become great due to the support and the help from the racers, and also for the fans and the supporters, the cheering, the support. We are also very grateful. And one thing I would like to encourage to the upcoming cyclist or any person who is trying to achieve something in life, we're in the generation where we want quick results, we want instant gratification, and that is one of the root cause of doping, not getting to where you want to be. Because I've had instances where I've had people who ask me if they can join me to my training, and they come and they only last 3 days or a week if one goes too far. But there are some who stay for long because they want results within the first few sessions, which doesn't happen. Like someone appears the first day, second day, third day, they want to compete with you and they want to outshine you, which have been there for years. So some things they take years for you to reap the fruits. And the sooner you understand how these things work, the better you are. And patience, consistency, disciplined, knowing where you're going, and following your passion is the key to being great and going to places where you desire to go. So just keep working hard, keep motivated, uh, and all will be well in time. In due time, will reap your fruits.
So the size of the fruit depends on the time you put in to grow it.
Yes. Yes.
So if the fruit is small, it takes shorter time. If it is big, like making it to the Olympics, it takes time.
Yes.
So
Takes
don't
time.
don't expect to get a mango fruit in 2 weeks or in 3 weeks or in 1 month. But you
No.
can get vegetables
Yeah. In
in,
3 weeks.
in 3 weeks. So if you want
Yes.
a real fruit, give it your time, give it your energy, give
Yeah.
it all, and you will
Mm.
achieve. Uh, so I get that very well. And just before I let you go,
Yeah.
maybe I want you to highlight one or two things, like your one, your greatest achievement, what makes you happier in the entire career since you started. And then, just for a normal person like me who doesn't know the nitty-gritties of cycling, I want to know the longest distance you've covered in a day and in what time.
So the longest event I've done was 850 that is in Tanzania, which I finished with 48 minutes.
In a
That
day,
is the longest.
in a day,
Oh,
once,
in a
not,
day.
yeah, in a day. In one single, see, one single move.
Oh, one single move.
Mm.
The longest I've done was 300 kilometers,
In
and
one
that
day.
yes, yes, in one day I remember very well. It was I was doing my training, and it took me about uh, 9 hours because that was training, and it was a very challenging route. So that's one of the longest I've done.
Non-stop.
So in cycling, there are always feeding points. You will always have a chase car, which come and gives you food, and maybe you stop for a replenish for water, and then you continue, and maybe you want a piece, and then you continue with your journey. Like you don't stop for more than 10 minutes or 5 minutes maximum, or maybe you changing your wheel, and then you go on. And
Greatest
now the
achievement so far?
greatest achievement is I have two, and they happened this year. The Commonwealth Games and participating in the World Championship. That was a very good achievement, and it's something I only visualized and dreamt of. And when it came to reality, I couldn't even believe I made it there. But it is what I was hoping for and what I worked hard towards too. So when it came to reality, I was so happy.
Wow. 300 kilometers is like you are almost a car or a motorbike. Yeah.
Yeah.
Your engine is that well oiled. All right.
Yes. You.
I wish you well and also pray for you so that you can continue,
Yeah.
chasing your vision and
Yeah.
ambition. Uh,
Yeah.
Hopefully, one day you'll make it to the Olympics
Yeah.
or even to the big tour events.
Yes.
Yeah, there's nothing that is impossible. Everything is
Yeah.
possible, as you
Yeah.
rightly stated. Nothing comes easy, and they don't come that fast. You have to go through the process
Yeah.
and follow the due process for you to achieve uh, whatever goal or vision that you have. Otherwise,
Yeah.
thank you so much for whatever information, whatever experience I've learned, and I believe those who are listening also have learned a lot from you. Thank you so much,
Yes.
and have a good evening.
Also, thank you so much, and you have a good new year.
Thank you. We'll catch up.
Yes.
All right. Thank you so much.